Greetings and welcome to Mount Olympus. I am Hercules Invictus, and today the crew of the Pride of Olympus is getting together to discuss the future of Star Trek. We have the Chandlers, Brian and Tina, and we have Pamela Fernsler with us so far, with others expected to drop in as our conversation continues. Greetings and welcome, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
I'm glad to hear that. And greetings and welcome, Tina. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Sorry I had me for a moment here. Sorry.
Okay. And Pamela, how are you? Okay, your sound isn't coming through, Pam. Anyway, um, I was looking through the internet as I often do, and I'm always amazed at how much I'm losing track of. There's so many things going on that I would love to have known about or uh, watched when they were happening, but then I don't find that they happened until later. And lately, I've been coming across a lot of videos and a lot of articles on the changes happening in Star Trek in the very near future. And the two most extreme ones are that the J.J. Abrams timeline is not continuing. They cancel the fourth movie. And the other one is that the Kurtzman universe in Star Trek is going to be decanonized, and they're going to start over on television and just ignore what he did before. So uh, I wanted to find out what you guys have heard and what you think about it. I guess we'll talk about the J.J. Abrams universe first. Um, I liked the movies, but I didn't count them in the same reality as what the television shows were all about. So it was just kind of like another retelling, but it didn't really have anything to do with the universe that I liked adventuring in. So there was science fiction. I like science fiction. I don't like everything they do with science fiction, or even things that I like. I don't like everything that they do with it in entertainment. But I didn't really care what happened with the Kelvin timeline, one way or the other. I liked the first movie a lot. The second movie, not so much. The third movie, better than the second movie, but not as good as the first movie. So I wouldn't be too upset if they discontinued that. How do you guys feel about it? We'll start with Tina.
Oh, okay. Gonna pick me first. Okay. Um, I just could not get past. To me, the Kelvin timeline was all completely fracked up. I mean, I'm like, just listening and watching the movies. I'm like, okay, it's Star Trek. It doesn't matter. It's Star Trek. It doesn't matter. I can't stand this. You would not put a starship out there that would tear apart like tissue paper at the first battle. Come on. And you're getting rid of an entire species that is essential to Trekology, the Vulcans. And I just couldn't get past it. I just really couldn't. I tried. Lord knows I tried, right, Brian?
Yep.
And I just could not get past it. And when I heard about the Kelvin timeline, Brian's like, Tina, sit down. I got something to tell you. I said, okay. I'm thinking, oh, great. Something else in the house broke. He's like, the Kelvin timeline is done. I'm like, back to sensibility, I hope. So
Back to common sense.
so we'll just see what happens. I'm just glad about that. Bye. That's all I got to say about it.
Well, thank you. Yeah, they put Leonard Nimoy's Spock in it, so they made it clear that it was on a different timeline. So that's what I think its saving grace was. There were other stories in Star Trek of other timelines, like the Mirror Universe was introduced fairly early. Okay, Pamela, we're recording, so I can't give you a call right now.
Oh.
Okay, Brian, how do you feel about the Kelvin timeline and it's not continuing?
Well, I have been what would you call it? A friendly opponent of the Kelvin timeline from the beginning. And it's not so much that they're bad movies. They're not. They're good sci-fi romp shoot 'em up bang bang movies. That said, they're horrible Trek movies because Trek is supposed to be more cerebral, make you think, have basis in current technology, current, you know, um, current events that are sci-fi'd up, so to speak, to make good stories, and that had absolutely none of it. It was just a straight shoot 'em up, bang bang, in true J.J. Abrams fashion, lens flare, explosion, whatever. He wanted to remake Star Wars, and he just got a hold of the Trek franchise and made Star Trek into Star Wars. But
He admitted to doing that, I think. If I remember correctly, years ago, he said he wanted to make it more like Star Wars.
he did, which in a way is okay. I'm all for space battles. Don't get me wrong, because DS9 space battles were great, but I hated the design of the new Enterprise. I hated the way they did like captain swaps. Everybody, no matter what, was a captain. You know, they could just be sitting in the center seat for 5 minutes while the captain went to the bathroom and they'd be called captain. That's not how it works. But the first one was okay. The second one, had they called Benedict Cumberbatch anything but Khan, it would have been a lot better. Or if they'd have just come out and said, hey, he's Khan John Harrison, making it a title rather than a name, I'd have been good with that too. But they
Good
didn't.
point.
And then when Beyond came out, Beyond I liked the best of the three of them because it actually had a plot you could follow. There was, history to it with the Franklin. There was, everybody had a moment, so to speak. It wasn't just the Chris Pine show or the Zachary Quinto show or whatever the case may be. Everybody had a moment. And when they said they were going to do a fourth one, but they were going to do a back in time thing with, I guess, Chris Hemsworth, George Kirk somehow, it just never happened. And they went, what's it been, 10 years now? And
Yeah,
didn't
it was
do
a long
anything
time
with
they've
it.
been talking about it.
Yeah, they've talked about it and talked about it till they're green in the face, to use a Trekism. But nothing ever happened with it. And now I guess that Paramount got bought out by somebody. They said, we're just going to start fresh and not even bother trying to get all these people back to do another one. So
There were hints in I think the third one of Apollo, because Apollo's green hand appears during the credits.
mhm.
That was like teasing who mourns for Adonis, but unfortunately, that never went anywhere.
Yeah, well, there was a line, I don't remember which movie it was in, but they said something about they were rattling off all these different things, and they said it's not a giant space amoeba, it's not a green hand floating in space, it's
Yeah,
not something. They were touching on all of that, but never did anything with it.
yeah. Again, it was an interesting take on Star Trek, and I'm glad that it didn't become Star Trek and all that Star Trek represents.
Yeah, well, the good part about it, and I'll give them credit where credit is due, it did introduce Trek to a new generation of fans because the
Right.
kids love it. My kids love it, but I look at it as a old school Trek fan, and I'm going, nah, this isn't working.
Yeah, the Star Trek fandom was about a lot about creating the world that Roddenberry imagined. Where there's equality for all. Finally, the Earth has finally let go of its wars with each other and operate as a planet, and that they've become part of a federation of planets that shared certain universal values, and how technology was not a bad thing that's out to get us, but it's something that we've mastered and can work with. And those things, a lot of them were missing from the new Trek.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so anyone have anything else to say about the or Abrams films? No? Okay. So onwards to Kirkman's Star Trek. Um, to me, I like the shows. I like them and I watch them. I stopped watching them at some point. I don't believe I saw Picard season 3 to its conclusion. I didn't see the last season of Discovery. Um, I last time we talked about this, I didn't know what was going on with the other cartoon that they made. I like the one cartoon, the one Lower Decks.
Oh,
That I saw, but I don't know if I saw the last season of that. I never saw the Section 31, and I heard that they did a Starfleet Academy. I never saw that.
That's not out yet. That's not out till January.
Oh, that's not until January. So it was Star Trek, but again, it wasn't real like Star Trek. So I accepted that from the beginning as something that happened on another timeline.
Yeah, on the plus side of the Kurtzman Trek, they reintroduced it to TV, which was good.
Hmm.
Discovery, I have my issues with. I can't stand Burnham at all. And it's not so much the actress, because the actress is fine, it's the character. And she should be nowhere near a starship captaincy at all. And they've gone out of their way to take her from first officer of a ship who commits mutiny against her captain to throwing her in prison to putting her in a position of power, so to speak, and becoming captain of Discovery again, 900 years from where she started. And just
Yeah, kind of explored the beginnings and the endings of the Star Trek story.
season one, after the mid-season break, was good. When they did the mirror arc for that, I liked that.
Hmm.
But the rest of it was just eh. Season two was pretty good because they introduced Pike as the captain
He was
and
good, yes.
brought that storyline in. That was pretty good. And then as soon as they jumped to the future, it went completely off the rails.
Well, it didn't make sense. There weren't really enough ships to have a new federation, from what I understand.
In the future,
Yeah, in the future, the Federation had kind of broken apart in a way like with a Kevin Sorbo and Andromeda, she was trying to recreate the Federation, and there were remnants of the Federation, but there didn't seem to be enough of a presence to cover the amount of space that the Federation did. So,
well, and going into Andromeda a little bit, they did that storyline a lot better than Discovery did.
yeah,
Because at least with Andromeda, they had an enemy that came in and basically destroyed the Commonwealth, destroyed the High Guard, and it brought on 300 years of what they called the Long Night, just absolute chaos. Discovery, on the other hand, went with this thing of, okay, we've got this thing called the burn that was causing any ship with an active warp core to just explode. There was no warp drive, no nothing. They couldn't get anywhere. If they did, they'd have to go the long way and take years to get anywhere. So there were very few ships that could actually do anything. And when Discovery all of a sudden popped up with their spore drive, they could jump anywhere at any time. And here you've got a 900-year-old ship that all of a sudden is like great technology. And they find out that it was this one um, member of Saru's race, the Kelpians, that somehow or another got psionic powers, and he was on this planet that had some kind of special thing that him throwing a fit because his parents got killed caused the burn. It wasn't an enemy or anything like that, like the Nietzscheans were in Andromeda. It was just, okay, this guy had a psionic fit and killed all these people and blew up all these ships, and the Federation collapsed.
that's the last one that I saw.
Yeah, and then after that, it just got worse. I just I couldn't watch. I couldn't even watch any of season four hardly. I think I saw 2 episodes of it and said, forget it.
How was the Section 31? Because they were talking about that since the beginning, I remember. And then they finally did something, but I didn't get a chance to watch it.
The movie, I can sum it up in 2 words: absolutely horrible.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with Trek whatsoever, other than a few name drops here or there. They've got a character in there that's supposed to be Rachel Garrett, who eventually goes on to become captain of the Enterprise C, but she's a lieutenant in this at like 20 some odd years old. And if she's captain of the Enterprise C, she'd be in her 90s by then. And that's not the way that worked either. But Michelle Yeoh, being, the Terran Emperor, she chews the scenery with the best of them in that one. But the rest of the characters and just the plot were absolutely horrible. So,
So I'm in no rush to watch them. Eventually I will. I'm sure I'll take them out from the library or I will pick up the season on DVD when it gets inexpensive enough. But I think that I'm in no rush to watch what happened.
Well, don't expect much when you watch it. Let's put it that way.
Did Lower Decks continue? To what season did Lower Decks continue?
I think it went to season 5. I have yet to watch any of them because I started watching the first episode and it was just too much silly comedy and I just couldn't do it. I've heard it got better as it went along, but I haven't followed it.
Yeah, I liked that, even though it was silly comedy, and they did a crossover into live action in Discovery, I believe.
No, it was in Strange New Worlds.
Oh, Strange New Worlds. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
Strange New
I
Worlds I
saw that
liked.
episode. That was okay.
Strange New Worlds I liked. I liked the beginning of it in Discovery, and I saw the first season, and I enjoyed what I was watching on that one.
Yeah, Strange New Worlds. Um, season 2 was so. Season 3 was a lot better, but you got to kind of put your mindset into that one as it's a prequel to the original series, but it's not a prequel to our original series. Because now they're talking about doing a thing, Star Trek Year One, with Kirk in command of the Enterprise in his first year, instead of the Where No Man Has Gone Before mission to the barrier with Mitchell and all that being the first mission. Now they're going to say he was in command of the ship for like a year before that.
That kind of kills. Well, it's an alternate timeline, so
Yeah,
yeah, I didn't like when they introduced. I didn't mind when they introduced Spock because, according to the lore, Spock went through a lot of changes, and in the pilot that had Pike in it, Spock was not the same as he was in the Captain Kirk television show. Uh, so you know that Spock was experimenting or evolving or whatever till he reached his form that we experienced him in the original Star Trek. So I like that they did that, but Kirk did not have the same personality. If they didn't call him Kirk, I wouldn't have imagined that he was Kirk based on
yeah.
his
The way they've done
performance.
this with Kirk in this one, though, is instead of being the thing where he mentioned in the menagerie that he had never met Pike until he was actually taking command of the Enterprise from him, now all of a sudden he's on the ship like every other week.
Right.
So
Yeah, that I
they've
didn't
played
like.
with that kind of fast and loose.
Tina, what do you think about the Kurtzman shows?
Well, Discovery, I'm still trying to catch up with. I don't have any time for anything else. Section 31, I watched Brian trying to watch this show, and he would put down the phone. He's like, okay, I can't stand it. Then he pick it up again and watch. He says, nope, can't do it. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stay that way from that one. Lower Decks. He's got a friend that keeps that on his case constantly, still trying to watch Lower Decks. Who is it, Bry?
Heather usually.
Yeah, Heather. Well, who
Yeah.
else?
Oh, Mikey said something, but
And they're both on him trying to get him to watch Lower Decks. You know, Star Trek is too straight laced. You got to be a little bit more loose. You got to be more relaxed. You got to be more down with things. And he's like, no, that's not what Trek is all about. That's just not. If half these kids act that way, I'd have them all in the brig or doing some other kind of military discipline of some sorts.
there's comedy and there's silly comedy. It's Lower Decks is silly comedy.
Hmm.
Well,
They
there's not.
they played with the idea of having comedy in Star Trek. At one time, I remember going to a convention, and Majel Barrett was one of the celebrities there. And this is when we were Klingons, so we were doing security and stuff like that. So we were a lot behind the scenes, as well as uh, being with the celebrities and escorting them and so forth. And Majel Barrett had said that they were thinking of doing a Star Trek comedy with Luxwana Troy. So it would be set on Beta Z, and it would have her dealing with other ambassadors. So she said that they'd done an episode where she deals with the Klingons, and that was very funny. And she talked about, I don't remember much more than that about it, but she had talked about that. So I know that the idea wasn't totally foreign to them. But you're right, Lower Decks is silly, you know.
Yeah. The thing that gets me though about all these shows and everything is continuity. What makes the show continuity they have with their own series and seem like any of the series that have that I've seen so far, except for Picard, that's been has continuity. I mean, there were a few bumps in the road regarding Picard, but otherwise, continuity. It's very hard to show. Like Star Trek, you don't have some sort of continuity in the show. It's
Now
like
I'm losing sound with you, Tina.
that. Yeah, there's definitely not continuity if you don't have continuity. And basically, the shows, how are you going to get another fan base started?
Mm-hmm. Pam is with us again. Pam, can you hear us? And we can't hear you yet.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now perfectly. All right, welcome, Pam.
Yeah, we had an old version of Zoom. We had to update it.
That happened to me too recently. My computer got hacked, and then they updated my Zoom, and I didn't know how to use it for like a week, so I had to take some time off to play with it.
Hi, guys.
Welcome.
There.
Tina's giving us her impression of the Kurtzman universe. Then I'm going to ask you what your impressions were. The Kurtzman universe, if you haven't heard, is ending, and the Abrams universe too is ending, and they're going to refresh Star Trek, and their questions as to what parts of the continuity are canonical and which aren't, and so forth. So I just want to hear what everybody knows so that we can all be on the same page.
Is that the 31st century one?
That's Kurtzman's. That's one of his discovery.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go back to Tina, and then we'll come to you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Well, I was just saying that it's hard to have a new fan base for Star Trek if you can't keep the continuity. And it's great that you can branch off into different sections, timelines or everything. But for a lot of people, get to a fan and start watching a show, watching a series, watching that. If the continuity is not there, then you might have trouble keeping your new fan base or developing that.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I did lose sound with you a few times, Tina.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. We lived during the age of information and the age of computers and the age of AI. And so what can we expect?
Oh, these are not the days of stone knives and bears.
Pamela,
Yo.
hello again.
Hi.
Um, the J.J. Abrams Star Trek universe, which gave us three films so far, and a fourth one that they've been working on for like a decade, and it finally got canceled um, with Yaquinto and um, Christopher Pine. I think, yeah, Christopher Pine.
Yeah.
Christopher Helmsworth was the father. That is ending. They're not going to do a fourth movie, and they're not going to make any movies after that, according to what they're saying right now. How do you feel about that?
I feel kind of positive about that because the Star Trek universe is expanded so far beyond what Star Wars has that it's hard to keep up. There are books that come out. There are Section 31 books that come out. I just got Section 31 a series, and it's really hard to keep up. So I think, taking a breath and figuring out what they want to do, and like Tina said, provide some continuity. It's been all over the place, and if they refresh it, I hope they use Chris Pine because he was pretty good. And Carl Urban, I loved Carl Urban as Bones.
His bones.
Yeah. I need to step back and take a breath. Like I said, there's so much, and I just got Paramount Plus so I could watch some of the others. I have so much to catch up on. It's incredible. I love Discovery, though.
Uh-huh.
That's science fiction at its best. And somebody who was writing that knows how to write science fiction. It's the best thing I've seen since the original series.
Did you watch the last season? I lost track of it during the episode that Brian was talking about earlier, where somebody had a fit and destroyed the Federation. That's the last one I saw. After that, I wasn't really motivated to keep on top of it.
I have all of them, but
Uh,
I haven't got to the final season yet.
okay. So I'm sorry for the spoiler.
I've had several dramas over here in my house, and I'm just settling down now, thank God.
Well, I'm glad you're settling down. It seems we've all had dramas recently. Um, did you see the other shows? Did you see Lower Decks, the cartoon?
I haven't seen Lower Decks. I do have Picard, and I actually liked the first season. I don't know how anybody else felt, but using the Romulans as staff in his house, that was pretty cool.
And that tied into the movies too, where he was a part of the peace initiative with the Romulans and was against their extinction and genocide.
Right.
And how about um, the Brave New Worlds?
Haven't seen it. Like I said, been so much drama in the house with our housemate that I haven't had time to watch much of anything for the past several years.
How do you feel about it ending? Because so then the stuff you haven't caught up with might become decanonized. How do you feel about that as a Star Trek fan?
No. Strange New Worlds, as I understand it, was a pretty good piece of science fiction. And I do have some of the episodes. I just have to watch them. And now that we have peace and quiet in the house, I can actually do that.
So we'll have to revisit this like a year from now to see if everybody, including myself, has caught up. One of the things that the different things that I read and watched were talking about was that Paramount wants to go with the Marvel model
Oh
of
no.
having
Oh my goodness.
one universe. So there shouldn't be two different timelines in entertainment. There should just be one. And they felt that returning to the original series is like the original Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, those shows. That should be the core continuity, and then they should just ignore everything that came after that and start from that point. What do you feel about that?
I would like to see it.
Okay, so that would be
I'm
fine with you.
yeah, I'm a Pride and Prejudice junkie, and I'll tell you, there have been so many books written after Pride and Prejudice. Some are good, some not so good. But we'll see what happens, and I hope they have good writers for it.
Tina, how do you feel about that approach to Star Trek?
Well, the writing is the word, as they say. I mean, they would really, whoever they get to write this series would really have to do stuff and know all the characters, all the series, all the movies, and going with that. I'm hoping that cross our fingers. We get a couple of writers, or some young untested writers, or like writers.
He's unavailable.
I'm losing you on sound again.
I know he's not available, Brian. Okay, but people like that, we'll just have to see. So
Okay, thank you. And Brian, what do you feel about that?
Well, in a way, I think it would be good as they could keep things straight. And they've kicked that idea around for years because the way Paramount and later CBS was structured is that they were doing their best to keep the TV version and the movie versions completely separate. There was no crossover, no continuity, no nothing. And that was done for legal purposes because Paramount was one company, and whoever held the TV rights at one point, it was UPN, then it was CBS. Now it's whoever. We're all separate companies, so they didn't want to cross over. Now that they're back under one umbrella and they can do that, I think that would be a good thing. That way you don't have to worry about multiple timelines, multiple continuities, multiple whatever. It can just be Trek again.
I like Marvel's approach through the role playing game. Are you guys role playing gamers?
Like I
Off
have
and
time
on.
for that.
Okay.
And
How about the Chandlers? Are you guys role playing gamers?
Nope.
Off and on when we have time.
Okay. Are you familiar with the new Marvel role playing game?
Not at all.
No.
It's a multiverse role playing game.
Oh boy.
oh my.
And so they tell you in the book in the beginning, and I like this, that whatever game you have is whatever multiverse you make it. So anything you want to do in your game is fine. If you want to have the movies be canonical, that's fine. If you want to have certain movies and certain TV shows be canonical, that's fine. If you want certain comic books to be canonical. So there are endless variations, there are endless ways to experience Marvel comics. So they give you total freedom to just imagine them any way you want. The movies that they're doing in the TV shows are fitting into their different model, but it's stories, and these stories have been told again and again in different mediums over the past nearly century. So I like that approach, and that's how I kind of view a lot of the television shows with the Star Trek too. It's like I don't have time to watch them all, as you guys don't have time to watch them all. I enjoyed some more than others. Some I enjoyed consistently more than others. Sometimes they did something clever and I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy the overall concept as much as I thought I would. But with the fandom too, from what I've seen through these programs that we've done over the years, is people in the fandom accept different shows as their canonical background. I wish that Bob was here tonight because he's the admiral for his Starfleet organization for this region. And we've talked at great length on these shows about how some people are in this continuity, some people are in that continuity. Like some people are taking their imaginary voyages on their imaginary ships in the fandom as part of the Next Generation continuity. Some are doing it as part of the Discover continuity. So, in a sense, role players who are LARPing or just cosplaying even are creating their own Star Trek reality, and that it's okay. So people don't get into fights, as far as I can see, over whose interpretation of Star Trek is right and whose is wrong. And they just enjoy what they enjoy, and everybody seems to get along. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. What do you think about the multiverse? And we'll start with Brian this way. I'm going back and forth, so everybody gets a chance to be first.
If Paramount was smart, and nobody ever claimed they were, but if Paramount was smart, they would say, okay, everything that was original series through, let's say, Voyager or End of Nemesis is all the quote unquote sacred timeline. Let's pull the Loki thing here.
Right.
That's the sacred timeline. Nobody goes into it, nobody touches it, nobody does anything. Anything we create from this point forward, whether it's a prequel, whether it's a sequel, whether it's whatever, to those events from that time period to that time period is a completely separate timeline. And that way they can change the visuals, they can change the characters, they can change whatever. They can reference events that happened in this sacred timeline, but make it part of whatever timeline they're in and just call it, timeline B or whatever. And then do that. Or if they want to do a mirror timeline, they could do that. If they want to do a Klingon timeline, they could do that. But they don't touch those series that have come before.
Right.
And they can still use like Discovery's an alternate timeline, or Strange New Worlds is an alternate timeline, or Lower Decks is an alternate timeline, and still make it all work.
That's a good approach. I like that approach. Tina, what are your thoughts?
I try not to laugh here because I'm sorry. All of a sudden I see a captain's chair. It spins around, and Deadpool's sitting there. And
That would actually be funny.
yeah, it would be. Oh my
And
god!
there have been crossovers with Marvel characters. I remember X-Men and the Next Generation
Yeah,
being a crossover. So I know they've had them.
I know,
The,
but oh my god! If they put Deadpool there, okay, we're done.
the worst part about the whole thing is I can see that too and expect him to just turn around, look right at the camera, and go, "You were expecting Gene Roddenberry wearing rabbit ears?"
Yeah, maybe someone's listening and we will see that during our lifetimes.
Yeah.
But besides that, I mean, I do have to agree with Brian. This is something we've talked about over with that, uh, including the Deadpool sitting in front of Keith. Loki coming on the deck. Okay, no, you're not supposed to be here. Out. You're just messing with the sacred timeline.
Loki is played by John Delancey.
Oh no.
I like Sean Delancey. I met John
Yes.
Delancey. I used to, what do you call it? I used to hang out with John Delancey at conventions, and John Delancey actually introduced me to people who work for the network when I was trying to sell my own science fiction universe that I created, and at one point, so I have a very high opinion of John Delancey. I used to hang out with Peter David too, and I was saddened when he passed on not too long ago.
Yeah, I saw that.
Sorry.
And Pam, what do you think about that, the multiverse idea?
It's been explored in Next Gen. There was an episode where they had 285 parallel
Yes.
lines, and that was so confusing. One of them said, "Just shoot me now." I think it was Riker, and so many parallel universes. In metaphysical lore, it also deals with multiverses, but they deal with them as different kinds of dimensions, and each dimension has its own qualities or characteristics. So those being real, it could possibly work. But for the human mind, it just fries the brain. Keeping with one continuity seems better than trying to explore all different types. You could go on forever and into the next century with that sort of thing.
Hmm.
So, multiverse is great for fan. Like they write their own stuff, and of course they create their own kind of universes where they're the central character. That's what fandom does. Some are good, most are not. It's just ego trips. I've read some of them. In fact, I've kept two of them. That's how much I think of fan writing. But it it isn't a feasible working solution. There are books that Paramount didn't I don't know what the verb is, but they didn't okay them because they were written outside Paramount before it really became a Star Trek industry. And I'm hoping some of the writers look at those. I have paperbacks that are 50 years old with those things.
Hmm.
You know, Jan Friedman, Peter Gerald, Peter David, they all wrote those things, and some women actually wrote those things. And then Paramount said, well, I'm taking over the Star Trek universe, so no more books by these authors that are outside what we want. So I'm hoping they look into those.
I remember those books. I had a lot of them. I might still have a lot of them,
I
but
think I think a Libris, used bookstore online, might have some copies, but they're old. They've spanned my adult years. My God, that's been a long time now. As for gaming, people going to do what people going to do. They're going to create their own universes. But if you're going to put them as entertainment, just do one timeline at a time. Archer, Pike, Kirk, whoever follows that, the Captain Sulu. just make a continuity because that sells best. And if they just do diversity in a way that people can't really follow, they're going to lose their viewership. That's the way I feel.
Okay, thank you. The next thing I'm going to ask is some of the comments I heard about Kirkman's or Kirschman's or right now I'm tired. Um, between Kirkman's uh, universe is that it was too woke. Now, I have difficulty with the whole concept of woke because I believe it's better to be awakened than asleep. I'm a metaphysician like you guys. So being woke or being awakened or is like being enlightened, having a broadened perspective. So I don't see that as a bad thing. And social justice warrior seems to have become a bad thing too, when all our superheroes are justice warriors. So I don't understand why that's a bad thing as well. So when they were criticizing Kirkman's um, stuff because it was too woke, I found myself not understanding what they were complaining about. So how do you guys feel about the whole woke thing? And we'll start with Brian this time.
Anybody who says Trek is too woke has obviously never watched it before. The only difference is where Roddenberry and the writing crew and whatnot for the original series had the same themes, the same subject matter, the same social justice, whatever you want to call it. The only difference was instead of being like the writers are now, where everything is just so heavy-handed, it's in your face, they cloaked it in science fiction where people actually had to stop and think about it. It was a science fiction show that went into those things. They use, like, let's just use for instances here. They used the Nazis in Patterns of Force. They used women couldn't be starship captains in Turnabout Intruder. They used a lot of those kind of things that were 60s social issues, but they cloaked them in science fiction. And it was done in such a way where it was a little more palatable to network audiences of the time that really didn't like that kind of thing. They wanted entertainment. They didn't want to be quote unquote preached at. And Kurtzman's stuff is a little more heavy handed with it. I mean, yeah, granted, the society has changed. People don't really think about stuff. They want shoot 'em up, bang, bang explosions. They want just general sci-fi entertainment that they don't have to think about. So they have to be a little more heavy-handed with it. But it's all the same kind of thing. Because Trek has always been kind of on the cutting edge of dealing with social issues, dealing with, the human condition, dealing with different things that are making current news, that kind of thing. And, people that are saying, oh, it's too woke, obviously haven't watched it or haven't gotten the message in 60 years worth of watching Trek. So,
Very good points. Thank you very much. Tina, what are your thoughts?
Again, this is a subject Brian and I talk about constantly, especially when it's come to the younger generation, like our boys, watching Star Trek or listening to Star Trek or whatever. And back when we were growing up with it, we had to literally watch the show and say, whoa, wait a minute. They did this. And they approached this way, this issue this way. Instead of saying, okay, hey, guess what? Issue. Ah! Down the throat. No thought. You will just say what we got and you will think as we think and you will do as we do. Not saying, oh, you actually think about something. So, it's, again, ditto to what Brian said.
Eloquently stated. Thank you very much. And Pam, what are your thoughts?
Infinite diversity in combination.
There you go.
Okay. Star Trek showed us that we could actually get along with different points of view. It wasn't just about the issues, it was points of view. And it brought to us what at the time we didn't call critical thinking, we called it reasoning. The thing about the diversity is that it's based, as I found out this year, it's based on Helena Blavatsky's Isis Unveiled. A lot of that is metaphysical. And if you don't see the background of that, it doesn't matter, because it makes you think. Like Tina said, it makes you think. And woke is not thinking. It's a heterogeneous or homogeneous kind of society, which we're shown in the original thing, like the white-haired men and women they came across that didn't have any children. It's like, oh, we'll get some if we need to. Homogeneous is very restrictive, and Star Trek showed us that in order to make things work, we have to combine them, know our strengths, know our weaknesses, combine them as a team so that we can affect greater change than just, talking about it. Woke, as I understand it, is getting diversity out and having one homogeneous cultural thing, like only Christians in America. Well, we were the immigrants on Native American land, and they had nations. They had 13 nations all across the what we call the United States now. And they didn't have much choice when European settlers came across. But Star Trek shows us that this is a benefit. This is an asset. And to call Star Trek woke from a point of view is, correct in that point of view. But it's very restrictive point of view. And to get out of that, we need to see shows like this that brings back critical thinking, that brings back reasoning. And I hope that they keep on doing that.
One of the things people liked about Star Trek, at least the original Star Trek, was the fact that Kirk has as his advisors Spock and Bones.
Yeah.
And Spock and Bones had totally different perspectives. And it turns out occasionally that they're actually very close and on the same page, but their relationship appeared antagonistic. But each of them gave Kirk a different perspective. One, you could say, came from the head, the other came from the heart.
Right.
And he was able to weigh the pros and cons of the feedback he was getting from each of them and make a wiser decision as a leader because he considered everything. So what you're saying, I believe, holds a lot of merit.
Like when he won the Kobayashi Maru.
Yes.
Because he just ignored everything. It's like, okay, you can do that.
And that seems admirable, except when it starts playing itself out in our politics, where we get to see it, how that operates in reality. So
yeah, really.
Now, our hour is fast approaching its end, and I want to talk about the next time we get together. Another show is making a comeback, and that's Stargate.
Oh, yeah.
14 years. And Stargate, they made an official announcement recently, and it's appeared on a bunch of the Stargate podcasts, and they've made videos too. We don't have a lot of details as far as I know, but their approach is going to be that everything that happened on the television shows happened. So everything in HG1 happened, everything in Atlantis happened, everything in SGU happened. They didn't mention the cartoon, Stargate Eternity, and they didn't mention the movie that started it all. So I don't know how canonical those are, but for the main television shows are canonical. They didn't commit to having some of the old actors coming back and reprising their roles. And what people's belief is that they're going to just, like Brian's just about Star Trek, just make new people, make a new, and just start off in a known universe and take it from there. So, do any of you have any last minute thoughts on Stargate that you'd like to share, and then we'll go into it next time. And we'll start with Pam this time.
I'm just turning into a couch potato. I record all those things for when I can do them, and I wish they wouldn't put them on streaming TV. I wish they put them on the major channels because you have to add money to watch them. It's like,
Yeah.
and how much do you want to really spend? So I just wait for the DVDs to come out.
Yeah, I like the DVDs better because they change things in the streaming, or they make things disappear and then you can't watch them. So I believe in physical media. Tina,
Yay.
what are your thoughts?
Well, maybe like doing a Stargate, like
Your
yeah,
your cat obviously has thoughts too.
yes, Maverick does. So yeah, this is our Maverick Marauder here. Well, anyway, Pamela, Brian was just telling Hercules that Pluto TV, which is free, has a Stargate channel.
Oh yeah.
Yep, so we can watch it. So going back to that, boy, that's a lot of good area for more or less like maybe in the same aspect of Star Trek. Hey, people are being asked to volunteer to make a colony on this world, and that's a lot of numbers in the DHT we can dial up and make a new home out of, and the things that could go along with that, and hearing news from the Stargate about where other colonies might be, which other teams might come through. I mean, there's so much that we can kind of more or less go to the right, to the left, to the other side, to the across the universe, to the other side. So I'm looking forward to that.
Me too. Thank you, Tina and Brian.
Hoping they do kind of like they were planning to do a few years ago, because I guess a lot of the original creative team is involved now. They had actually written up a season 6 for Atlantis, and I've read a brief synopsis of that, and it sounded really good. And it kind of combined SG1, Atlantis, and Universe all into one show.
Oh, great.
So I'm hoping they take some elements of that. I don't think they're going to do it, verbatim like the plot is out now. But if they take some elements of that and incorporate it into the new show, then it could conceivably spawn a new, 10-year show like they had before and just go with it. So it would still have some of the original characters. It would have new characters. It would have new situations, new villains, new everything. But it would still be at its core Stargate.
I don't think they can afford Momoa anymore. So
Yeah.
Ronan Dex, we won't find out what happened to him except through expositional dialogue. And how can people reach you guys? And we'll start with Brian with that. If somebody wants to enter Brian Chandler's universe and explore more of your thoughts and your activities, because you are a comic book person, you're also a science fiction person, and you're a commander of a Starfleet organization. So, how can people get involved with all that?
Best way is to find me on Facebook. Just do a search under my name or a search under my store's name, Comics, Cards, and Stuff, and you'll find me. I'm off and on constantly.
And I'm honored to have found you guys years ago with I think it was Book Mooch or Title Trader or one of the book things is how we originally connected.
Mm-hmm.
And
That old. Except we were never young, Wolverine.
no, how can people find you?
On Facebook, also as well under my Tina Chandler, or email me, probably best way, USS71832 @yahoo.com.
Awesome, and you are the only person I know, and we've actually done vocational shows on this in the past. Who was a roller derby queen, and I think that is one of the coolest things ever. So, are you still involved in that world at all?
Unfortunately, no, my back more or less is kind of like said, The mind is willing. The back says, I don't think so. So I got to get my back looked at before I can start going back on the rink again. So
Yeah, I never was a roller derby queen, but my back too from weightlifting, I think. But I have arthritis of the spine, so I can sympathize.
let's see. There's the roller derby. Broke my tailbone one year.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's never a good thing. Couple car accidents, motorcycle accidents. Hey, life happens.
but you are mighty. You are still here, and you're still active.
One tries.
And Pamela is a metaphysician of note. She is the mistress or the master, any way you want to describe it, of many metaphysical systems. And Pam and I have had some really interesting conversations about the Greek gods and Rosicrucians and other worlds. So, Pam, how can people enter your world?
I'm on Facebook too, Pamela Joy Fernsler. I use the whole name. Or you can get me at pjfernsler@outlook.com. I am many things, but mostly I'm just Pam. And I also like to, I have a hobby of framing old photos and pictures and stuff. So I have to rethink that one. But that's how you can get hold of me. Or,
Okay, fantastic. So until next month, I wish you all joy and success in all your endeavors. Thank you so much for getting together and discussing this today. And I will communicate with all of you before then and let you know about the next show.
awesome.
Have a
Sounds
wonderful
good.
evening. And those listening at home, until next time, this is us wishing you joyous journeys and amazing adventures. And happy Thanksgiving to all.
You too.
Give it.
Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.